The movie begins when Amanda packs the bags while her husband Clay still sleeps. He wakes up and asks Amanda about her sudden packing. She tells him she wants to move away from the city and the people here for a while. So she rented a house on the beach this morning. Clay could not present any excuse, and they left for the home the same day with their kids. The luxurious house looks pretty equipped with all the necessities of life. Kids use the swimming pool, and Clay feels relieved to see them happy. Soon after, Amanda leaves for the local market to get groceries. On her return, she gives Clay a cigarette pack. She wants him to have fun with all the elements of joy. Then they leave for the beach. Amanda likes that there are few people around. Their little girl, Rose, points out that there is a big ship in the sea. They all see it and ignore it. Amanda and Clay settle down on the beach and eat their food. After a while, they all rest while Rose, who keeps looking for the ship, shakes them to alert them that the boat is still moving, and it's probably not stopping at beach. Amanda wakes Clay, and they all begin running away. The ship only stops when it cannot move further in the sand. Security on the beach evacuated all the people, saying the ship's GPS was not working. They return home, and Amanda opens the laptop to read the news about the ship. But the Wi-Fi could not connect, and the TV was not working either. They see 2 deer on their lawn and smile, thinking it's a good omen. That night, when Amanda and Clay play Jenga and drink alcohol, Amanda senses that someone is in the house. In the next moment, someone knocks at the door. They open the door, and a man with a young lady introduces himself as the house owner. He is G.H. Scott. They ask them to come in. Clay invites them in as it is cold outside, while Amanda is reluctant. They tell them they are going to the city, but it's blacked out in the whole town, so they have to spend the night here. Amanda argues that they can't let them interrupt their privacy because they rented the property for the whole weekend. She opens the laptop to file a complaint with the company, but the internet and phone signals are off. Suddenly, Scott takes out a bunch of keys, and with a lot of struggling, he opens a drawer. It had money and a pistol in it. He takes out the money and gives $1,000 to Clay as a refund, so they allow them to stay there. Clay accepts the cash, while Amanda gets very angry. She takes Clay aside and gets mad at him for letting them stay there. She has many doubts that both her father and daughter have planned con. They do not look like house owners, and all the stories about city blackouts look fabricated. She tells him that she can't sleep with them in the house. So Clay calms her down and goes inside to talk with Scott and Ruth. They see that Scott is making a fantastic cocktail. Clay does not ask questions, picks up the cocktail, and begins enjoying it. But Amanda starts interrogating what Scott knows about the house. Meanwhile, Ruth walks out to get some fresh air. Amanda asks Scott to show any proof that this is their house. She asks about his wife and demands her ID. He tells her that she is on a business trip and that he forgot her ID in his wallet at Symphony. Just when Amanda points out his lie, the TV turns on with a loud voice and says that all the city lights are off due to the national emergency. Clay believes it and allows Ruth and Scott to live in the basement. Ruth hates the basement and wants to throw Amanda's family out immediately. But Scott calms her and tells her he will determine what to do next. On the other hand, Amanda strongly feels that Ruth interfered with her interrogation with Scott. She believes that they are being lied to. Besides, she asks Clay why they didn't tell them about the ship incident. Amanda seems so confused. At the same time, the TV screen shows the message that there is a global cyber attack. The following day, Rose wakes Amanda and says that she has to see the last season of Friends, but there is no internet. Amanda tells her to wait, as there is a national blackout. With so much anxiety, Rose goes outside and sits beside the pool. Suddenly, she saw a deer and smiled. But all of a sudden, a lot of deer gather around the edge of the garden. Amanda wakes up and makes coffee for herself. At the same time, Ruth comes there and asks if she can get the coffee, and they start asking what Amanda and Clay do. Amanda says that she is in advertising, and Clay is a professor. Amanda shared about the blackout and saw warning messages on her phone that appeared for a while. The warning was about a cybersecurity attack. Ruth shares that hackers may have attacked the powerhouse. That way, they crippled the whole system. Just then, Scott arrives and asks about updates. Amanda shares that he went to the town to get news. He hopes that the cyber attack will be nothing like the one in the 2000s. when two kids from the Philippines sent a bug with the subject "I love you" in emails that halted many businesses. Amanda looks worried and excuses them to go and see Archie. Ruth and Scott stand by the window. They are worried that they have lost connections with Maya, Scott's wife, and Ruth's mom. The cyber attack is a disaster, and Ruth is getting so paranoid that the problem seems much bigger. At the same time, Clay drives the car to meet someone that knows what's happening, but he does not see anyone. On the other hand, Rose shares with Archie that she saw a lot of deer this morning, like they were trying to say something. Archie was stalking Ruth, and he ignored what she said. Scott gets in the car to learn about the situation in the town. He sees a house where everything is scattered and looks like it has just been abandoned. The windows are broken. Clay stops his car when he sees a lady screaming. Rose and Archie go into the bushes to find out where all the animals have gone. On the other hand, Scott sees a radio box in the house and tries to get the signals. Clay does not understand what the troubled lady is telling him in Spanish. Rose and Archie watch an abandoned cabin and get inside to know what's in it. The Spanish lady tries to tell, but Clay does not understand, so he drives the car ahead. The lady keeps banging on the car and crying. While Scott walks on the beach to see anyone around, he suddenly finds a watch. A human hand comes with it when he pulls it out of the sand. He falls down and sees a human body dead on the beach. At the same time, a lot of papers fly towards Clay's car. He raced his car to reach home. While an airplane nose dives in the sand before Scott, he barely saves his life by running into the house. Ruth and Amanda sit beside the beach and wait while Rose and Archie decide to go back. Rose sees a deer, but it runs away before she shows it to Archie. Scott returns home with soaked clothes. He sends Ruth to get his clothes and tells Amanda that with the market instability, he senses that something unexpected is coming. On Amanda's curiosity, he shares that he did not see a single person alive. While he thinks that someone knocked out the satellite system in space, Ruth tries to listen, hiding behind the wall, when suddenly a supersonic sound starts. Amanda runs out. The noise stopped after a while, and her kids joined her. They get back home when Archie shares that he is feeling dizzy. Amanda tells both her kids to go to the room and change. After they go, Amanda angrily asks Scott what he knows about the situation. Scott tells her to wait until Clay returns. But she is not ready to wait, and tells him loudly that if he sees a plane crash due to a damaged satellite system, then probably a big disaster is happening. Ruth gets up to go as she is worried about her mom, who was about to return to a Long Island from a flight. Suddenly the door opens and Clay comes in. He gives them a paper that reads, "Death to America." They speculate that America is under attack. So they leave in their car for New Jersey, where Amanda's sister lives. After they leave, Scott assures Ruth that the plane he saw crashing was not the same one that her mom was in. As Clay drives the car outside the city, Rose hears sirens blaring. They stop their car because there was a traffic jam. Amanda sees that all the cars are driverless Teslas. Suddenly, she asks Clay to sit in the car and drives away. Due to the damaged satellite system, the cars are auto-driving and banging into each other. Amanda barely drives her vehicle safely and reaches Scott's home again. That night, Amanda asks Clay to plan something to get out, as they can hear the bombs sound. Archie feels sweaty in his room while Clay decides to sit with Ruth and smoke marijuana on the poolside. Amanda and Scott drink and talk. She shares that she never likes people and feels sorry that Scott must constantly be around people in his profession. But she shares that she has started liking him. When Amanda insists, Scott begins telling why they came there. Scott has a friend and client in the Defense Department of the Pentagon. Many years ago, he sat with him and drank till late. After getting drunk, that man once asked him to join the annual meeting of evil cabals with the people who run the world. Amanda gets afraid after hearing that and wants to go. But Scott stops her and tells her that the same friend called yesterday and asked him to transfer a lot of money. Then, he did not laugh at any of his jokes. He only told Scott to take care of himself. He does not think that the things happening in the world are done by any influential people. It's something else. Rose goes to see Archie and asks if there is any hope that they will get out of the situation. She really wants to see the last season of Friends. Clay shares with Ruth the truth. He saw a troubled lady in his way. Ruth wants to know what else he knows. Clay tells about the wrecked ship on the beach. He shares that he did not want to terrify anyone by discussing that. Suddenly, they hear a splash. A lot of flamingos fall into their pool. While in the lounge, Scott takes her to his collection of records to bring Amanda back to her nice mood and win her back. He wants to play jazz, but Amanda chose another record. They dance together and hug each other. Amanda reminds him that they are married and can't get any closer. Scott shares that he loves his wife and is so frustrated that he will never see her again. The situation is so dangerous. Suddenly, it sounds like a blast, and once again, that supersonic noise begins. Flamingos fly away from the pool and lights break down. Amanda and Clay sleep in the same bed with their kids. She feels that Archie has a fever. Rose is still awake and tells her mom the story about a man who always prayed for his safety. When the town flooded, a boat and a helicopter came to save him, but he refused their help as he wanted God to come and save him. The man dies, and in heaven, he complains to God that he did not help. God says he sent all 3 helpers, but the man failed to recognize them. Rose tells her mom they have given enough warnings, and their time is over. At the same time, Ruth feels afraid and asks her dad to sleep with her. She shares that she does not trust Amanda as she is rude, Clay wants to be close to her, Rose is weird, and Archie takes inappropriate pictures. After hearing that, Scott promises that he will save her in every situation. But Ruth warns her father that letting that family back into the house is a mistake. The next day, Rose was already up and out of the house. Archie's fever had gone, so Amanda asked him to wake up. He gets out of bed and pulls his teeth one by one. Amanda gets so afraid and asks him to stop. They sit in the living room while Archie tells them that he was bit by a bug outside. He thinks this is the reason his teeth are shedding. Amanda does not know what to do. She immediately wants to get in touch with a doctor. Scott relaxed and told her he would go to the contractor to see if he had stored medicines. He doesn't think they will find any doctors. Suddenly, they realize that Rose has been missing for a while now. Amanda runs to find her, while Archie begins vomiting. So Scott and Clay take him to someone who can treat him. Ruth did not want Scott to leave her alone, but he promises that he will come back in an hour. After they go, Ruth begins finding Rose with Amanda, but they could not reach her. They sit in the cabin near the house when Ruth tells her to return home, but Amanda yells at her. That makes Ruth sad that Amanda does not care that she is alone. Probably, her mother is dead outside somewhere. Amanda apologizes, saying that she understands what she is going through, but her profession required her to learn the malice in people, so she hated them, but she never wanted to be that way. They leave the cabin, but Amanda turns and finds Ruth nowhere to go. She sees that deer surround Ruth. On the other hand, Scott stops by the contractor and he tells them to stay away from his house, or he will shoot them. When the contractor does not agree to help, Scott takes out his gun, too. But Clay comes in between them and pleads to help his son. The contractor thinks that the microwave radiation caused Archie's teeth to fall. Amanda comes closer to Ruth and shouts at Deer so much. At first, Deer don't flinch, but after a while they all ran away. Amanda hugs Ruth and cries. As any money is useless, he accepts some money and gives some medicines to Archie. Ruth tells Amanda that animals are trying to tell them something, but getting ahead on the path, she stops after seeing something. After getting the medicine, Scott sits in the car and tells Clay that he saw this coming, but he now knows what's happening. To destabilize and collapse any country, the enemy does 3 things. At first, they broke communication, which they did by breaking all the networked and satellite connections. Then, they spread misinformation and chaos to turn people against each other. The 3rd stage is now here, which is civil war. Ruth stopped to see the ashes and clouds of fire from the blasts in the city. The country is under attack. On the other hand, Rose goes to the nearby house to find a better place. She eats food and searches the rooms around the house. Suddenly, she finds a metal door. She opens it with so much force and turns the lights on. It's an underground bunker made for such emergencies. The bunker has a lot of food and communication systems. The screen shows that the country is under attack and that people should find a safe shelter nearby. Rose searched the DVD collection and took out the DVD of the sitcom.